Zona.
And my name is Sweetie, and welcome to
What They Don't Tell You podcast.
the pre-dental edition.
So next we're going to keep going with our series, our dental application series. So you just hit submit, you received your supplementals, you sent those in as well, and now you have an interview invitation.
Interview time. Do they call you, email you? Like what?
Email.
So you get an email?
Definitely check your email. Have the alerts on because you don't want to miss that. It's very sudden. It would be like 1 to 2 weeks.
After you submit the supplemental essays, what do you say is a time frame?
It could be any time. Oh. It could be any time.
And they don't tell you, like, okay, so hear from us in like a week or two per school. They're just like, this is what we need.
And this is where, like I mentioned before, they can ghost you. You may never hear from them again.
It just sounds like a bad dating experience.
It is for us all. On my end, anyway. Yeah, no, I had several schools that just never reached back. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, don't know what happened there, but that's okay.
Okay. How do you prepare for the interview? And I'm always thinking about what I'm going to wear. So I think, do you start there? Like, okay, what am I going to wear?
Let's start there. Because that's the fun part,
yeah,
right? Like,
I feel like that's all. That's probably the one thing I'm thinking about. I'm like, ooh, what am I going to wear? What did you see when you went to the interviews?
So I actually had all virtual interviews. Mine were Zoom. Luckily, it was just waist up. Yeah. You don't want to see what we're wearing right now. But same thing.
Okay, so a collared shirt, maybe a blazer.
So I would say definitely blazer. Always be overdressed rather than under. I think the collar shirt's not going to cut it.
Okay, so you definitely want to do a blazer with like a collared shirt. For the ladies, you can do a pantsuit set or a pant skirt. For the guys,
I think full on
suit, like 3 Ps. Okay, well, I know Zara has some great ones. ASOS has some great suits for men. Express, if you're looking for on more affordable side. But if you want to go to Tom Ford or Ralph Lauren, more than welcome to do that too. For the girls, like, where do you like to grab your work stuff?
So yeah, I went a little high end, but just because I knew I'm going to be using this all the time, so it's a good investment piece.
Quality over quantity.
So I got a lot of mine from like Ralph Lauren. I'm still looking for a good pantsuit. I know like girls look at Ann Taylor.
There's a Banana Republic. People may underestimate them a little bit, but they have some good stuff. New York and Company has some nice stuff. Zara is my go-to for everything. Dressing up, dressing down. Go to Zara.
Even like the big ones like Macy's or Sears.
Oh yeah, I forget
that exists. Yeah.
Macy's is still around. Yeah. Yep. And if you need to get quick and really affordable, because it is expensive, Marshall's definitely has like suits and stuff. And then if you want to get it tailored, you can go to the cleaners. But I know they have more on the affordable side if it's last minute or, we are spending a lot of money on applications and traveling. So if you want to save, go to Marshall's.
Do you know what you're wearing? Do you have an idea of like what colors or they say like standard, you're going to see everyone in like a navy or black suit or like a white colored or stripes or like blue, like that's like standard. But I've also seen people do like a pop of color to stand out. Don't do too much, but I have seen like tweed, like jackets.
I feel like I'm a texture girl. Like I feel like I would mix tweeds with silks. I want it to look classy, very elegant, professional, but I still want it to represent me. When I get closer to that time, I'll have an idea. But for now, I think just learning what others are doing and just staying true to myself too, because I don't want to go in there looking all stiff and like boring, and I know that's not my personality. I still want to come through. I'm not a bright color girl. I don't do bright colors. I don't like patterns either. I like to play with textures, so probably like a suit. I'm thinking about like a skirt, suit, blazer, nice skirt. Giving like vintage Chanel vibes,
Okay, love it.
That's what I'm going for. And also like the school too, like what's the vibe with the school? If I feel like they're a little bit more serious, then I'll go by that. Like it's also emotional, to be honest, for me at least. So I'm looking forward to that part.
I've seen guys do like really funky ties too, but I think up to your own discretion with that. You don't want to do too much because I've also heard like stories of that going wrong. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Don't underdress, but don't do too much. If that makes
Definitely overdress, I think, but don't do too much.
Don't do too right.
Yeah.
You know when you're doing too much. Ask like 3 friends. Hit us up on IG. You can send us pictures. We could do the whole outfit idea thing. That'd be fun.
That's so fun.
Ooh. Okay. All right. So what's next? Okay, so now I'm wearing my pantsuit. I'm wearing my skirt with my blazer. I'm waiting for the interview. So what is it, like a waiting room? You say you were virtual. It wasn't in person.
Mines are virtual. Yeah.
All of them.
All of them.
Oh. Okay, so like what was it like? Was it in groups? Was it by yourself? Like what was it?
Right. So there's 2 different kind of styles I've experienced. One is just like a basic one-on-one interview. So that's where like an admission's gonna interview you. We're gonna get into like what kind of questions they ask you like later on. So that's one style. The second one, which is much more scarier, is the group MMI format. So that is a group of like 6 to 8 people, and they're all group interviewing. That was definitely scary. I'm so happy I prepared for that because I've never experienced that before.
When I was a teenager, I applied to work at Abercrombie. It was a group style interview. I've never had a job. Like I'm walking in here and like we're all fighting for this position. So we were all sitting in a circle. They would ask us a question and then we would like go around and answer the question to the best. But sometimes if they choose you last or second and you're like, dang, they said what I was gonna say, then you have to change your mind. Or if they choose you first, you kind of get caught off guard. Yeah. So how do you prepare for that?
I know for us, there was no order. You need to be outspoken. The admissions person just kind of sat there and let us like talk back and forth. She did not say anything. It was like super intimidating. She like threw the question out there and we just kind of had discussion. And I guess she just like listened and wrote notes, but scary.
Sounds scary.
Yeah, that was terrible. I did not
like
like
that. Because I'd be looking at her every time someone said something like, can you read her face? And they just had like poker faces.
Poker face. That's literally her, yeah. And we're like,
Oh my God. So now for the more intimate one-on-one interviews, was it you in front of a board of people, or was it just like you one-on-one with a person that represented the school?
So this is really interesting because I had 3 different scenarios. One was a one-on-one with the actual assistant dean of admissions. Another one was one-on-2, so me with 2 faculty. So there are different professors in the dental school. And the third one was me and a D4. So a dental student. And that one was so casual, so chill. It was just me and this dental student. And she was so nice.
Do you get 2-part interviews at the schools, or is it just like that one interview and then they make a decision?
So again, we're living in a different era. Because of COVID, everything is virtual. I think they kind of stuck to that because they realized, why are we spending so much money to fly out, get a hotel, do a full day? Some schools still do it. I didn't experience any of that, even now in 2022.
Is there a one interview, or is it a first part of the interview and then you move on to the second round?
All of I experienced is one interview. So some will do a 2-part series, let's say like 9 to 12. They'll just talk with the schools and do seminars. We'll talk about financial aid, their curriculum. There's a Q&A with admissions. You have a whole half day.
Wow.
And then you'll have a separate time slot for your 30-minute interview later in the afternoon.
And that was like, what, 6 hours?
It was a full day, yeah. It was like a 9 to 3 with like a lunch break.
Did you get to meet any of the other students during that virtual?
It was very formal. For obviously your camera's on the whole time. Lunch break, turn off your cameras, mute yourself, come back exactly at this time.
Okay.
So
it's like class.
Right. And then you'd be like put in like a waiting room. They're like, still mute yourself, still
like
keep
a break
camera.
room?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then one by one would get in our virtual interview.
Okay. How did it work being virtual, doing the group interview? How did you navigate through that? Because you're not outspoken necessarily, but you're also like, come my way. You're also not timid when you're going for something. So how did you navigate through that? Let's say someone who's like you and they have an interview like that. Like, what would you say to them to prepare themselves mentally to like speak up and not be afraid?
Those group interviews are a shy person's nightmare. I just described the situation. It's super intense and this means so much to everyone involved. But I don't know. I feel like it's just like go time. You have to make sure you stand out and make sure you do the prep work before even getting into this interview.
What are some of the questions that you remember, or some mock questions that you practice with? Would you be so kind to share that with us?
Yes, absolutely. So I think there's different categories for interview questions. The first one is going to be personal questions. So that's going to be your strengths and weaknesses, describe yourself.
And what mistakes have you made in the past? What would you do them differently?
So that would be a different section, I think. So also your interview can be open book or closed book. So open book means like they have your application in front of you. Closed means like they don't even have it. Like they don't even know who you are. You made it this far to make an interview and now they know nothing about you. You have to basically reiterate your entire application in like a nice, short, concise manner.
So how long are these interviews?
Anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you have time. Usually they lead, but sometimes they don't lead and they'll be dead silent.
And they're just like,
And you have to like keep going, but like don't overshare
yeah.
or say the right things.
If you have to rehearse your personal statement.
Honestly, yeah. I rehearse all these questions. Do mock interviews with your friends.
I believe her 100%.
But it's not even like a me, like type A thing. Like they say you
Yeah.
should do that. You should do mock questions. The questions will always stay the same.
So when you're talking about your weakness, how do you present your weakness in a way that you still switch it and make it positive? Yeah.
Yeah. Say your weakness, and obviously don't be too honest. Sugarcoat it.
Like, I just can't wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
That's my weakness.
Keep it professional. And then at the end, you're supposed to say, or what do you learn from that, or how do you work on that? So for example, a good, weakness is I overextend myself. So I've noticed I'm constantly overextending myself, and I feel stressed out when I do so. So then at the end, be like, I'm working on that by
Setting boundaries. Okay, that makes sense.
But never actually list a weakness. I think that's a given.
I guess I'll have to practice some questions. We can role play or something.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. So if you have friends or your parents or whoever's around, you might want to role play. Like write a script for yourself to get in that groove and practice it more. Act like it's that environment.
I've also heard of people recording themselves because you don't really know sometimes when you talk and like when you say like ums or have long pauses. So honestly, like record yourself and then watch it back and you can catch yourself. Also, like playing with your hair. Girls do that sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Don't do any of that. You won't know it because obviously you're like nervous, playing with your fingernails, whatever it may be. So record yourself and so you know what to look out for.
I'm going to binge watch all our episodes to see all the little things I do. I know I'm always looking for my lip gloss or like something on my lips. So I should probably
don't do that.
not do that. Like, hold on. I'll tell you my weaknesses as soon as I find my lip gloss. So work on your body language. You want to make sure like you're...
Should we sit up
You
straight?
don't want to like, yeah, I'm just here because like I want to be a dentist. Me telling you versus what your body is saying to me. I took a business course in high school and they always were like, when you shake someone's hand, you want to have like a nice grip, make eye contact, make sure you know about the school. You didn't lie on your application. So if they do ask you stuff, because they do ask you things sometimes directly from your application. So make sure you tell the truth so that when they do ask you, you're not like, because you can visibly see it. Body language will tell you all you need to know. When they're interviewing you, I'm pretty sure they're super observant and they're looking at how you are completely.
Absolutely. Even just like those in-person interviews, even when you walk in, because they kind of meet you with like D3s, D4s, and like even they're observing you. Like, how do you talk? Are you interacting with other people? Are you like in the corner by yourself? They like watch you and they give notes to your interviewer.
That's crazy. It feels scary, but I feel like I've experienced it.
Like Big Brother.
At job interviews or just in life. On the train, I feel like people are staring at me, judging me. So, dang.
I'm curious to see what happens for your cycle, if you will have more like in-person interviews versus Zoom.
I don't know because they might still stay virtual because you just did yours last year and they were still virtual, right?
They change every year.
Don't know,
Who
right?
knows? Yeah.
I'd be excited either way, to be honest. I just want to interview. But I think I would be excited to go in person because I'm very big about my environment. I know what feeling I'm looking for, and if I get that feeling and I go to the school and meet the people, I'll probably be more confident than if I was virtual. I'd probably prefer in person, to be honest. It's like the camera, I don't know. I'm not that confident. In person, I feel like I can make more of an impression than through a computer.
I agree. You have to work a little extra harder on Zoom.
We'll see. Whatever form I get an interview in, I will be happy.
So let's go back to what kind of questions they ask. So you went through like personal, there's application, and the next part is kind of different because these are the ethical scenarios. And I had quite a few of these.
Okay.
So this is when they describe like a situation. They're going to ask you, okay, what do you do?
So like a scenario in a dental office.
It could be. It could be a dental office. It could be like a cheating thing. It could be just seeing something wrong happen, like how do you react? What are you going to do? Characteristics they are looking for is things like having unbiased opinions, being empathetic, being supportive for your classmates or teammates. They're looking for certain things in those questions. So for an example of a dental-based ethical question is like you're working at a dental office, you see the other assistant steal supplies. What do you do?
Call the police now.
Wrong answer, surprisingly.
My initial
Turn them
instinct would
in.
be to turn around and like not look at it.
Okay, well don't do that either.
Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that?
The correct answer in something like that would be to pull them aside, away from the public, personally tell them you saw what they did, and they should confess. Give them a time frame. If you don't in 2 days, like I'm gonna have to.
It's not blackmail.
No, because I think it shows that you're supporting them. You're giving them
Like
the benefit.
them, keeping them accountable.
Right, you're giving the opportunity to turn themselves in, so that way you're not even involved. But then after a while, you have like the ethical duty to.
Like, if you don't do it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I just made that up, but that's not a real question that I had. So.
Practice makes better. What are some other questions that you feel like caught you off guard?
This is a good question actually, because I'm so happy I wrote this Google Doc of potential questions, because they can ask for you to tell them like a real life situation where you had a conflict. Describe a situation where you saw something wrong happen and what did you do to correct that? And you don't want to sit there and just like think, you're just staring at each other. Make sure you have a scenario.
I have so many. My brain, it was like a catalog just came by and I'm like,
There's always going to be some sort of, you saw something wrong and what did you do to fix it? Or you did something wrong and how do you rectify it? Or describe a time where you overcame a challenge. There's always just like something they can ask for, like a real life story that they want to hear from you. And obviously the whole point is at the end to show how you grew, what you learned from it. It's very hard to think of like on the spot.
yeah, because now I'm sitting here, I'm feeling like I'm in an actual interview. I'm like, what would I say?
And always keeping it professional. If they say describe like a wrong situation, you don't want to bring up some
Like,
personal.
don't be like, my ex-best friend. That, like,
Yeah.
that's not.
That's not the story to tell.
The one time my boyfriend cheated on me.
Right,
They're
that
gonna
is
be
not
like, they're gonna hit the X button.
Imagine.
Security, get her out of here. You still want to treat it like a job interview. You want the job, why? And then whatever they ask you.
Ooh, that brings us to another category. They are going to ask you, like, why us? Why our school? What about our school fascinates you? So this is going back to what we talked about in our previous video. Research your schools, because they're going to ask. And also, at the end of the interview, they always ask, do you have any questions for me?
Always have questions.
Always have a question.
I learned that the hard way. You know, you go somewhere and you're like, okay, they want to know about me. And you forget. This is why researching the school is so important, because what if you don't know anything? Or what if there's something about the school that you learned that you didn't understand completely? Like, you can, that could be a conversation piece. And they'll be like, oh, okay, like this person's actually interested in our school. They're not just applying anywhere.
Right.
You know?
Also, I feel like this goes without saying, but never forget your why. Probably the first or second question they're going to ask you is, why dentistry? I also got asked this once, why dentistry and why not medicine?
Oh.
So if you do have maybe like volunteer experiences that show like you could be in both, I know for me, I had hospital experiences too because I was considering pre-med, they're gonna ask you about that. So have a good answer prepared.
Yeah, without bashing like medical, because we need that. But we all have a respect for all fields, but we have a preference. Focus on that without bashing.
That's just a good way to restate your personal statement. Because as I said before, some of these interviews, it will be closed book. They haven't read your personal statement. They know nothing about you. Someone just checked off the boxes that you made the cut for the interview, and now you're selling yourself. You're trying to be personable. They want you to smile and like make eye contact and appear friendly.
But I guess just practicing would be the best thing to do, right? Getting yourself in that headspace once you get that email, like, okay, time to interview. Ooh, I cannot wait.
There's also always going to be a question to throw you off. Cats or dogs? They will just throw something crazy out there just to see how you react and if you can still keep it professional.
Wow. Like, how many marbles can you fit in a jar?
Like, wait, did I hear that correctly?
Really?
Like, I was like, are you sure you said that?
Am I being punked again?
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I had one of those. You wing it sometimes.
Because you can't prepare for everything.
Exactly.
But for the things you can, you want to make sure that you're sharp. That's what I'm going by.
How do you feel now? You have a nice little game plan of what you're going to do?
Initially, you feel scared. I'm more afraid when I don't know or when I have no idea. Now, knowing a little bit more, knowing someone that actually did it makes me feel better. So I'm not scared, but I'm excited. And a lot of times I feel like those two feelings can feel the same. I'm more excited than I am scared. Last year, maybe. Because I just didn't know. I saw everybody stressed. Like, you just see the stressful part when your peers are going through it. I just see you on the move. I see you like, oh yeah, I have to go here. I have this call at this time. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be going through that next year.
I was panicking.
Yeah. But when you actually peel back all those layers and you're like, okay, well, how do you prepare? Now I feel prepared. I feel prepared and I'm confident this time around. I just know what I'm going for, and I know that I've improved so much.
Preparation is key. I think the day's gonna come, your heart's gonna beat so fast.
Oh, yeah.
Either way. You know?
I know I'm gonna probably like,
ooh, don't do that.
being prepared allows me to push back any anxiety. But I know naturally when I get to that moment, I know I'm gonna feel all those nerves and stuff. But I'm in a better position than I was before. I found out more detail about what goes on, what that feeling is like, that there's different kind of interviews. Because imagine not knowing that there's groups. You go and it's in person, let's say, it's a bunch of students. I know personally, I used to lose confidence when I was around other students that I felt were like smarter than me, or, you know, people probably coming from prestigious schools, and like, here's little me at this group interview with my little sad story. And now I'm like, well, you know what? We all put in the work. Just knowing that there's a possibility that there's group interviews puts me in a different headspace than not knowing. So I'd definitely be doing some mock interviews with you. Maybe we'll do like a short or something where we do like
that
a
could
little.
be fun.
That'd be like a cute little. So if you guys are down, like we'll probably do like some short videos to show a mock interview. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know I speak to her all the time, but I feel like I learn so much more when we're sitting in the setting and we're talking to each other, and I feel like we're educating. So I'm asking all the questions I feel like I have once these topics come up, and we're doing it. We're doing it together, and I'm excited. I'm so excited. I could cry.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I hope that this helped somebody, anybody, because I know I definitely took a lot of information that I wasn't really aware of before, and I like to ask questions right on the spot because, you know, she literally just went through this, so who better to talk to? So I feel very lucky in that aspect.
So thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Our social medias are linked below, and feel free to comment or message us on Instagram. If you have any questions about an upcoming interview or maybe what schools I went to, I would love to share that personally.
Make sure you hit that bell notification so you know every time that we post.
Bye.